Good morning. Glenn Thomas, I'm the Director of IT Governance for the Commonwealth Office of Technology. I'm one of the wonderful people that is here from the government to help. I have control of policy for IT in the Commonwealth for the executive branch. For those of you that work in the executive branch, you may or may not know that there are policies that control this stuff. Trust me, they are. And we're here not to play Big Brother. We're here, as the Colonel was saying, we're here to help you guys. We're here to make sure that you don't go off the cliff to something that you shouldn't be doing. So most of the policies that we write are at the 80,000 foot level, and we allow you to, individual agencies, to draft their own below that, because we are trying to cover 32,000 people in 13 agencies. So it's kind of hard to get very, very specific, but most of the policy that we draft is very similar to what every other state has, and we coordinate with those other agencies to make sure that we're not getting too restrictive on you. So why am I here and why do we have that? Well, KRS says that this is one of the things that we do. Let me turn on the high-speed laser beam here. Right, policies is right there in 42.726. And social media is a technology thing. So that's why I'm here. We do have responsibility, as I say, for the executive branch, judicial and legislative. We do not have control over them. However, in most cases, they utilize our policies as an example and then build out their own. That is something else that if you are not part of executive branch, you are absolutely welcome to use our policy as a template, build out your own, change, modify however you want. All of our IT policies are very easy to find on the web. Technology.ky.gov or tech.ky.gov will get you there. Across the top header, that says governance and enterprise IT policy. Drop down to the IT policy, and there's about a dozen or so that are there. The social media is the third one down. All right, and I believe everybody should have gotten a copy of that in the email that went out. It was just recently updated about a week ago with a few minor changes. So if you hadn't looked at it before, go out and pull down the latest copy that's there. Again, talking to executive branch, the important thing here is it's not just the employees and contractors, it's subcontractors, it's anybody that's doing work in support of the executive branch. So if you farm something out to somebody else, they have the responsibility to follow the policies as well. And very, very clear, that's why it's in red there. This has nothing to do with what you do on your own time. This is only in relation to the social media that you do in support of your official position. Define acceptable use. We also have a policy out there called acceptable use for the web and email. And one of the things that's on there is, don't spend your 8 hours or 7.5 hours a day just out there surfing the web. You actually hopefully do have a real job to do as well. If that is your job, then by all means do it. But realize that in most cases, folks have other things that they're supposed to be doing as well. Policy maintenance, this is the basic gist, and a lot of this is cut and paste right out of the policy itself because I didn't want to stray too far from that. But any agency has the ability, again, to build something that's, we're at the 80,000 foot, at the 1,000 foot, at the 10 foot level. Just don't contradict what we say in ours when you build yours. Why should we even have a policy? Well, as others have been saying, this is the future. You've got to have information out there. Social media is where everybody's looking. Let's not forget that there are some folks that are not on the web. I know that's hard to believe, but not everybody has an account. Not everybody has a smartphone. Not everybody has a tablet. So don't utilize it as your only source of communication, but more and more, larger and larger percentages this is the way that they get their stuff. As you heard, some folks don't even have TVs anymore. Everything's on. A lot of people don't even buy laptops anymore. It's all the smartphone. That's all they have. So if you're thinking about a new social media policy or new social media account or new social media activity, first thing you should do is go and talk to either your public information officer, the head of your agency, to make sure first that they're interested in doing that, and second, that it's not already there. Because as I say, this is not a new thing. At one time it was a new thing, and at that point it was what we call management by airport magazine. So somebody goes out and they're sitting waiting on a flight and they read something about social media and they're like, oh man, we got to have social media. Not really even knowing what it was or what it could do, but it was the latest buzzword, and so therefore we needed to do it. There wasn't really a plan, there wasn't really an understanding of what it could do, but we needed it anyway. So identify first the goal. What are you trying to do with this thing? What's it for? Okay, in emergency management, that is pretty obvious, but maybe not. And if, as we said earlier, if you're only going to post in the event of an emergency, you're not going to have anybody following you. If you don't have fresh information going up all the time, you're going to lose your users. The folks that are watching you, they're not going to be there until that event happens, and then they're trying to remember, okay, what was that hashtag or what was that account? It's too late. So make sure you've got a plan. A good communication plan will include how that stuff's going to go out, who's going to control it, how often it's going to go out, what's the purpose of it. Realize that different audiences need different types of communication. So make sure that there's a good plan for how it's going to be utilized. And again, make sure that you're talking with the agency's communication officer. Hopefully a large number of you that are here are in that role. Always check to make sure that there's not an account already set up. It's amazing the number of this little area needs their own, and they will be broadcasting either the same information as another area, or they could be sending contradictory information, which will just confuse folks. So make sure all of that is coordinated. The communications office should control all of the accounts, or at least be aware of the accounts and the passwords thereof. That's in the event that whoever normally does the postings is on vacation and they forgot to tell somebody and an emergency comes up. You gotta have a way to get onto that account, or in the event, the hopefully unlikely event that somebody's terminated or resigns. Oh yeah, we forgot to get that before they left. So all of that information should be centralized, and by being centralized, it needs to be secured, so as that not anybody can just look underneath the thing. Oh, there's a little tab that it's written down. For any new accounts that are being set up, the governor's communication office has to have approval for that before you begin. What they're really interested in is making sure that the message that's going to go out is consistent with the Commonwealth's interests and policies. So again, executive branch only, but if you are within executive branch, at least touch base with these folks. Traditionally, once they see what you're doing and where you're going with it, they say, that's fine. Just, do as thou hast done before. And if you're setting up anything that's really new in social media, they also want you to contact me, just so as that we can be aware if there's anything that's going to affect the bandwidth of the network in any way. Maybe you got 1 million followers for something and you're going to put a quick little survey out there. Well, that could actually hit the net pretty hard for everybody else that's trying to broadcast as well. So we just like to be aware of what's going on. I don't want account names, I don't want passwords, I don't want any of that thing. Just tell us what's going on, what you're going to be using it for. Agency employee responsibilities. The first one, and this has been hit on a couple of times already, official accounts for official business. Whether you've got two phones or one phone, people have been terminated. Not that I know of officially in state government, but certainly for the feds and other agencies, where the last post that they did was their personal, and without looking, they think they're posting to the official account. Well, they're not. And so they're either talking about the party that they're going to Friday night on their official account, or they're posting something official that they think's going out to, 500,000 followers that's only going out to their best friends. So always make sure that you're using the right account for the right business. And then exercise caution. We heard about the hacking bit. Yes, it's not just the email that says, I'm a business partner from a foreign country and I have $1 million if you'll just send me 10. Hopefully there aren't too many folks that are still clicking on those things, but believe it or not, because they're still going out, somebody is. Or they wouldn't be doing it. But they're getting much trickier nowadays. There's what looks like an official post from somebody with a nice hashtag with a link in it. That link sends you out somewhere overseas where they start charging, $9.99 a minute for some sort of connection. Write what you know. If you are in emergency management, you shouldn't be talking about, road construction, or you shouldn't be talking about things that are not necessarily related to your job, to your official position, or things that you may not know all of the details about. Be transparent about what you're posting. Make sure that if you do set up an account, there's an official email account established with that you're not using some sort of a cutie hashtag or a cutie name that does not identify you as an official agency of the Commonwealth. And then again, as the Colonel said, perception is reality. For those folks, they're going to know really quick, as he said, about a microsecond to know whether you're blowing smoke or you're telling the truth. And once you've got that identity as being a smoke blower, you can forget it. Post deliberately and carefully. Again, this is a lot of stuff that y'all, it's common sense, but it's in the policy for a reason, because at some point or another, somebody didn't listen to this and bad things happen. So think about what you're posting. Make sure that the voice of the agency comes off correctly, comes off concerned and not condescending. Inside of our policy, there's a short disclaimer, and I'll read it verbatim here, that for the account itself, says social media pages established by agencies should contain the following disclaimer. Any posting to this page may be subject to disclosure to third parties. The agency name reserves the right to address and remove any posts or comments at its discretion, and the agency has not evaluated and does not endorse any products advertised or opinions expressed on this page. Remember that these are public records that they have archive requirements. It's part of the official communications of the agency, and that's very important. The fact that it's out there forever, but it may not be archived the way that you need it to be if you don't control it yourself. And as the poster, you're the one whose body parts are on the line if something goes sour. Okay, you have the ultimate responsibility because you're the one that hit the enter button. Whether you're doing it for your agency or not, if it's bad, it's on you. And you certainly don't want to be in that position. So whether it's the 24-hour rule or it's the think before you click, think before you click. And with all that, still be open and honest. It sounds kind of crazy, I know, but you've got to try to get the right message across to the right audience in the right time with the right emphasis within the guardrails. And once you've been doing it a while, It's really not that difficult. It really is not. But at first, yeah, it's a little bit freaky and a little scary. Add value. Don't put a lot of fluff out there, because that, again, that'll get your following dropped really, really quickly. People aren't interested in the fluff. They want to know the real deal. They want to know things that add to the value of their day and their lives. If you do screw up, admit it. Don't try to hide it, and handle it as professionally as possible. On things like Twitter and that, it's just another post. You know, if you're on some sort of a blog, yes, you could go back and edit it, but make sure that you acknowledge that you did edit it and this was not the original, because somebody's already seen it and they're going to say, well, that's not what I saw 5 minutes ago. And then you get that whole thread that starts about, you know, what are they trying to hide? And follow the rules. The list of things that you shouldn't do, okay, it's not bad enough that I'm telling you between here and here, but now the things that you shouldn't, and again, common sense. Don't post anything that compromises the safety or security of the agency, of the Commonwealth, or the United States, or any system thereof. Don't post anything that can be perceived as discriminating against anyone, any group. Don't say anything disparaging or threatening. That, again, the 24-hour thing, but that should not play in official accounts, but it may. It's been a bad day and the phone hasn't stopped ringing and the work keeps flowing in, and all of a sudden they ask you to tweet something, and before you know it, it doesn't come out the right way. Don't say anything offensive or demeaning. The non-public, don't post the infrastructure of the the sewage system for some agency or some town. Don't post your personal, sensitive, or confidential information. So, social security numbers, addresses, all of that sort of thing that you would not want the bad guys to know. Just don't put it out there. Anything that might be involved in a litigation or potential litigation, don't do it. And certainly illegal or substances, things like that. No sexual content, no profanity, solicitations of commerce. There may be times when this is acceptable. For example, you're looking for a vendor to do something for the agency. As the official account for that agency, you can say, we're looking for someone to do X, but then have the link back to your main site that'll say, give all the details of that and what you're looking for and where the request for proposal or bid or any of that sort of information is at. Don't encourage illegal activity. No, hey, let's have a riot next week on Friday because it sounds like a great thing to do. And then content that violates legal ownerships for anybody other than the agency itself. If you decide that you want to talk about something that's not a usual topic for whatever the stream is that you're running in, I want to use the example of, don't talk about recipes if you're in the middle of an emergency event, but it's the same sort of a thing. Okay, if you're posting in emergency management, then let's not be talking about something that's not necessarily related to emergency management. No violations of copyrights, and then anything, if that's not bad enough, then anything else that would be a violation of any policy, procedure, whether at the state level, agency level, county level, you name it. And you have a copy of the policy. I don't have my phone number here because I'm usually running around and I'm not actually in the office much. Email is actually the easiest way to get hold of me. If there are any questions about that policy or any other policy that we have posted out there that you all want to utilize, build off of, by all means, contact me. I will get back to you as quickly as I can. This is my job. He thinks he has the best job. I actually have the best job. because I get to work with setting standards and policy that affect, 32,000 people that then affect all of the citizens of the